Well, hello my baby gorillas, and it's been a long time since I've been down here, and I think this is very important that I start to elaborate on what's actually happening just now. Very exciting times just now, very exciting. And the fact is that we have got some really interesting things happening in British politics. There's old Boris saying that he is not going to prorogue Parliament. It's just in the natural ramifications of what is actually in general parliamentary business. And that's very interesting. Now we've got the combinations, which I'd already told you, the combination of the SNP, Plaid Cymru, the Liberals are starting to come in there as well. We've also got the Labour Party. The Liberals and the Labour Party are now starting to internally fight amongst the main section. We've also got parts of the Conservative Party. Ruth Davison, a Christian Democrat within the Scottish Conservative Party, is now resigned. I mean, it's just absolutely fireworks in politics just now as it gets closer to Halloween. This is massive things that are happening just now. It's unbelievable. So let me tell you, because you know I predict what's going to happen in politics. You know I'm absolutely spot on, my baby gorillas. I'm always here for you guys to tell you what the media does not, and what I actually get is absolutely correct. So let me tell you what's going to happen. Boris has prorogued Parliament up to a point, but he hasn't done anything that's going to be significant. Joanna Cherry from the SNP has put a legal case which I don't think is going to hold any merit. I don't think, because Boris has done the proroguing through the fact that he has doing an autumn budget, or putting in a Queen's speech for other things that he wishes to happen in Parliament. We've also got the Brexit Party still sitting at 16%. The Brexit Party seems to be holding up just now. The big thing about the Brexit Party is going to be that they're going to hold the Conservative Party to account, and whether or not the Brexit Party are going to specify seats where there is a Remain Conservative Christian Democrat TRG Corporatist Globalist MP in a Remain seat. This is going to be, the pressures on there, and whether or not Boris and Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's looking very competent in front of the dispatch box, he looks like he's just been made there. I foresee Jacob Rees-Mogg becoming a Prime Minister, and I think he'll be a competent Prime Minister. Come on, we'll go over and actually talk to him. Guys, you want to have a wee chat? Come on, don't be shy, it's okay, you can have a chat, stand up. My name's, let me just get you in shot, make sure you're in shot. Just come in a wee bit. I'm David, nice to meet you.
Hi David, I'm Jolie, nice
to meet you.
Where are you from?
We're from the Guerilla TV channel, just move a wee bit to the left, that's it pal.
Thank you.
So, what's your thoughts? Tell us what your thoughts are just now.
Well, after today, to be honest, it's been a really emotional one. We've had a lot of opposition. Obviously, there's been a lot of EU talk, Leave, Remain and everything. But I'm really not here to engage in EU debate. I appreciate that the mandate is an EU mandate that's being used to override Parliament at the moment. But what we're talking about is actually a much deeper issue of parliamentary sovereignty in the state. That is our rule of law. So essentially, Boris Johnson has been permitted to override law, override Parliament, democratic process and everybody's freedom of speech and ability to act on their own behalf by shutting down Parliament to push through a no-deal Brexit.
Do you mean the because that was really good, and I want you to take a breath as well.
Yeah, I do need to take some. I'm from Essex. I'm sorry, I speak really fast.
I love people from Essex. Jane, Jane the Remainer. I love Jane as well.
But that's the thing, and this is what's being covered up. Is everyone?
Well, let me interact with you. So, as far as I'm aware, that Boris has not shut down Parliament and prorogued Parliament for the whole period of time up to and including the 31st.
Yeah, and I again appreciate that, but the concept of even closing down Parliament for any period of time to push through legislation is exactly the reason I'm here protesting.
But this is not a precedent. This is not him doing something that's not already been in precedent. And also, he is trying to put forward a Queen's speech as well, which has got precedent for actually a small period. I think is it 4 days that he's prorogued Parliament.
But this
for?
To me just seems like smoke and mirrors, and it's fueling
the
Remainer? Opposition. I did vote Remain, but as I said, I really am not here to engage in EU debate because this is a single issue, and frankly, right now I'd take Leave or Remain. But we are talking about the rule of law in this country.
So the proroguing of Parliament that you're upset about is the 4 days.
Yeah.
Is it 4 days now? I have not.
To be honest, I've been saving my phone.
I don't know,
and
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything.
It's been changing.
As far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, it's 4 days.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not him proroguing for a point where the before and after.
I've heard discussions of lots of discussions on the radio today and things like that about even people doing sit-ins in Parliament and going over.
No, but I mean, but for 4 days, though, I understand. So if he prorogued the Parliament up and after the actual debate,
but proroguing Parliament itself is just not really an option. I believe in today in a 2019 democracy state.
I understand why, but it's not a precedent. He's not set a precedent by proroguing Parliament.
But has he not? Because now, if it's okay for this Prime Minister,
it's happened many times before.
But in times when we were not equal in time, people forget about the past, that we had massive inequality, there was massive homeless issues, there was no equality for women, black people, ethnic minorities. The past is not where we should be heading. We should be heading into the future of diversity and unity and working together. We are a very diverse country. I love that, and that is what we need to be promoting rather than oppressing. And it has actually now, by overwriting Parliament, you are now oppressing these people. If you are taking away our voice for our representatives that we elect, it is oppression, and it is so blatant. And I can't believe.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I know you didn't want to address the things that are actually happening in the EU, but let me put this to you. I would suggest that the 20 unelected commissioners dictating my legislation is more of an oppression than the 4 days proroguement of Parliament.
Again, I can understand that, but then I would ask people to go and have a look into the purpose of the European Union and the purpose as to why, firstly, it was created.
Yeah, I understand
and
the purpose.
Also the law that they promote.
I understand.
Because it's a very positive thing, and it's exactly what needs to be happening in the world.
But I understand.
So,
have you watched the things that happen in Hong Kong?
Yeah, this is where we'll be heading. This is what I'm saying.
I think it's the EU. I think it's the EU that's heading that way because
I'm always willing to listen to a different.
20 unelected commissioners who are not elected and dictating my legislation is exactly what's happening by the communist and authoritarian communist regime in China.
But also, again, specifically with the UK, it's people need to gain a bit of perspective with the EU's actual power over our state. Like the fact that like people are saying, oh, you make us take in immigrants, you make us contribute X amount. The fact is that the UK benefits a lot economically from being in the EU, just simply from like businesses, transportation, licenses, agreements. Even myself as a traveller, just being able to scan my passport. Imagine doing that on a business trip. You're saving expenses. This is wonderful, positive unionship. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there is not improvements to be made with regards to representation, diversity, and everything like that, so that there is a more fair and more democratic process. However, if you're looking as a democratic point of view,
that's what you're here for. That's what you're complaining about. So can I put this?
No, let me get my point across first, and then
carry on.
So, as I'm saying, so from a democratic point of view, their behaviour, the legislation being put forward by the EU, is in a much more democratic and forward-thinking manner than what is now being proposed, such as our legislative, Boris Johnson, who is proposing to shut down Parliament and allow a free-for-all where he can just push through legislation without having to be answerable to Parliament, which is sovereign in the UK as by law. So, as I say, this is bigger than Brexit. This is bigger than anything to do with the EU.
So
it all comes back to parliamentary sovereignty and the rule of law.
I
will ask you a question though. So, if this is so, would you then say that? Would you argue that you're not putting too much power into a single person by giving them the authority to not only put forward something that was scarcely voted in the first place, but also then not have to go through the democratic process that we have in this land, but can just actually choose to shut that down, do what they want, and then reopen as is convenient and cover everything up with a Queen's speech?
Well, so my point, the thing that if he had prorogued the Parliament to actually cut down all...
Are you pro the proroguing of Parliament, by the way?
If he prorogued the Parliament and didn't allow any freedom of speech up to, or any debate within the Parliament, should we say, up to the actual time that we're leaving. But there's very little that's going to be happening just now, and the thing that I think is the most interesting thing is probably not the thing you think, the proroguing, and I understand why you think that, but the thing that I think, because I just understand in a slightly different context, is that Boris looks like if they change the backstop in the actual agreement that Boris might put through, because he's trying to play hardball.
Are you talking about the political bluff, like the standoff, whereby the fact that if the EU thinks he is actually like loopy enough to pull out? That is an argument I will have.
But my point is though that if he puts back through the same deal, but only with the backstop changed, whether or not that's going to pass Parliament. So I'm not quite sure.
But this is exactly it. So the point, this then comes down to the Brexit mandate, and the fact it itself is teetering democratic itself. Again, don't want to really engage in it, but that's just the facts. If you look at the statistics, they speak for themselves. So that itself, what that has caused is a circle to occur in our parliamentary system, whereby you cannot push through something that's undemocratic, because we're very fortunate to live in a state where we have laws in place to protect us.
But as parliamentary democracy is parliamentary democracy supersede a referendum democracy?
But this is the argument, isn't it? But again, with referendums, they can be very good and they can be very bad. It's very much a political throw-up, because you do give this mandate to the Parliament to say, yes, act on our behalf. But then usually, in a referendum of this scale that is going to impact a country, especially with law to this degree, there is a supermajority imposed. So therefore, the supermajority, I can see you're a bit lost like that. A supermajority is a political term whereby, because of the teetering of referendums on a 50-50 split, they often have
a disproportionate split.
Exactly, this is what happens. Exactly what is happening with Brexit happens, whereby the opposition is basically balanced. So this
I could quote you.
So that there are people that now we've got a rule for that we impose a supermajority where you need a clear majority.
But I never voted
to.
Hold on. Well, let me. I never voted to go into the EU.
Well, that is another argument.
And nobody voted.
But no, what I'm talking about is a supermajority.
But nobody had a supermajority to go in.
But no, but this was never. This is what I'm saying. But does that now justify not having a democratic vote?
We had the democratic vote.
Yeah.
The democratic vote.
We're talking about like what's happening right now. What happened? Before I was even born. So.
Right, it was probably. I don't know if it was before I was born, but it was certainly there.
So this is what I'm saying. I'm more worried about exactly what's happening now. So therefore, to justify what would have been a democratic vote for Brexit would have been to impose a supermajority.
So if say for instance,
even if it was just
a second referendum.
I think it should be put
so
back
if a second referendum was...
From what I can from what my options now to what we can actually do, progress and in keep with democracy, is a case of we either need to have a second referendum, put it back to the people, and impose a supermajority, and have I know it's so shocking. I know democracy is such a shocking
That's not
concept.
democracy. That's to skewer the whole thing.
No, it's not, because this is what I'm saying. Especially now, people are so riled up. People will get to the polls to vote for what they believe in. So now we would actually have a fairly represented vote, and as I say, with a supermajority, now be that Remain or Leave, it will have a full majority that cannot be questioned. Again, if this is about legitimacy and democracy, so with this, even people that do vote Remain, if it was now still voted to leave, we'd actually just have to shut the fuck up, because you couldn't tell us exactly, because now it's democratic and we wouldn't have anything to say against the people that voted to leave.
Listen,
and this is just the truth.
I need to go back to Scotland, but
Well,
thank you very much.
I wish I could go back to Scotland. Take me with you, please.
Thank you very much.
Please.
I love people from Essex. Thank you very much. There you go.